Good afternoon. This is Devon Head back with you, and we are still working on leaving the path of resentment. We are still working on that in the process of, right? And you remember, well, I'll recap some of what we've done so far in the last two, our intro and our first session, but I may get to that later or in the next session. It's really on my mind and heart to go in another direction as we go forward. So I want to quote you or read to you in Philippians chapter 4, verse 8. This is in the New Testament. Now, this is another, I think, a very enriching directive for the Bible that will help us as we endeavor to reprogram and restruct and recover and heal as we move forward and leaving the path of resistance. So in Philippians chapter 4, verse 8, I'm going to read this. Now, this is going to sound different to you. This is out of the Life Application Bible. The King James reads different, but the gist is pretty much the same. Okay. Now, Paul starts out by saying, this is in verse 8. And now, dear brothers and sisters, one final thing. Fix your thoughts on what is true and honorable and right and pure and lovely and admirable. He says, think about these things. Think about things that are excellent. And let's stop right there. There's so much more to read on that. So let's go back. He said, dear brothers and sisters, he said, fix your thoughts on what is true. Let's just look at that right there. As we are on the path of recovery and healing, and maybe in the intro and first session, we talked about that releasing and letting go of our resentment, our anger, our offense, our bitterness is like a cleansing of the soul. Like when you take and wash and cleanse or wash dishes or something that's been really dirty or toxic, and we can cleanse it with solvents, some kind of machinery I've seen that's been cleaned. Our car, we are cleansing, getting rid of the dirt. The dirt, makes it look bad. So it's like releasing emotional toxins. And as we also talked about earlier, that in Ecclesiastes, there are things, as long as we're here on this earth, we're going to experience things that are unpleasant, could be hurtful, harmful, happiness, joy, success. We're going to experience the gamut of those things. And hopefully with God's help, we can get through it. And I really want to address this issue. So he says to fix. Now that's interesting to have that. That is a deliberate action, I would say, wouldn't you? To fix, to put our mind on that which is true. So as we are walking back and we've released, or we're endeavoring to let go, sometimes something that we may have dealt with will creep back into our mind, our thoughts. We may have the temptation, or something may remind us of something that we're trying not to remember. And this involves also, as my brother was sharing with me, about mind, will, and emotions. That's something I want to talk about later on, our mind, our will, and our emotions. But as a directive from the Bible, it says to fix, it's almost like, in a way, to get control of, how I kind of look at it, to fix, to like focus. Focus to me is when we are able to, like, there's a window right here to my left. You can't see it. And although I'm looking into the camera, there's a tree out there. I see the tree, the wind blowing some of the branches, all the leaves are gone. There's a bird just flew by. So it's a part of my gaze and my focus, but I'm fixing my gaze. I'm bringing all that in, even though I see there's stuff going on outside. I'm fixing my mind right on hopefully I'm looking directly at the lens, which means I'm looking directly at you. So that's kind of like an example, to fix, to kind of hone in and focus. Think about whatever, like in the Old Testament, it says, whatsoever things are true, whatever is honest. He's saying, so if we let go of one thing, we have to at least then try to put something in its place. And that has so many different applications for someone that's trying to lose weight, maybe gain a little weight. The conditioning process, if you're sitting around watching TV a lot, which is nothing wrong with watching television, but If you know, like, hey, I've been spending way too much time just watching TV when I come home. So, I need to spend some time maybe exercising, or I need to read a book, or maybe I need to get out and socialize a little bit. So you're now replacing some of that time you have where you're watching TV. You're coming home watching TV 5 hours a night after work. You're just sitting there, and then you get up and, take a bath and go to bed. You're like, boy, that's not much of a routine, right? And so many things I can do with that 5 hours. So I'm going to knock off maybe a few hours, and I'm going to go out and go for a walk. Or you may go, I'm going to go visit someone, or I may go to the park, or I'm going to take up a painting. There's a class down the street, a recreation center that's offering painting, to teach you how to paint. So you're doing something else to occupy your mind. If you're trying to quit smoking, so, and on and on and on. But it's important. Part of the reason why I want to get into this area, because as my wife had suggested to me about, we want to pull back and walk back from that door of no return. When we have reached a point in our mind, our will, and our emotions, we're committed now, nearly committed, nearly ready to take some kind of action. Well, let me back up first and say this. Behind that verse, I would say, is what are we putting into our mind? If we are to now fix our mind on whatever is true, whatever is honest, whatever is of good report. So when something comes back to my mind and says, darn, I remember that time how such and such said this to me, and how this happened, or maybe something we're really grieving about that someone ended a relationship with us, whether it was a business relationship, or if it was a romantic relationship, or we were terminated just recently. I'm aware of the fact that a report was given on the news about a plot was uncovered by someone speaking up, or either the law enforcement got wind of it, that there was someone that's going to bring some ammunition to school and maybe carry out, what would have happened, because this happened just recently. And I especially say to young people, I want you to know that if someone breaks up with you, or maybe you're being bullied on, seek the help that you need in terms of if you feel like someone's bullying on you. But I want you to know that there is so much more life on the other side of some of those unpleasant things that happen in terms of relationships. I know how tender our hearts can be when we're young, and this person may be all the world to us, or we're resenting the fact that we feel like a social outcast, or maybe we've been picked on. And we figure the way for us to remedy this is to go and bring a gun to school. And as a matter of fact, this particular plot that had been uncovered, this individual had names of people. And that's all I'll say on that. So we want to pull back, rein in. I look at it as like a fishing reel. We're trying to rein in our emotions. And that may involve us getting help. That may involve us actually talking to someone. Just think about stepping back away from that point. If you're in a condition now, whether you're younger or older, and you are so consumed, have become so consumed, while you are at that point before we cross over, right? And we are then, or kind of outside of our thinking, we are now thinking irrational, and we're thinking about retaliating. Can we catch ourselves? Can we talk to someone? Because there is something on the other side of that. If we allow ourselves, and that could even include if you're contemplating suicide. I'm 55 years old, so I have like 40 years, 39 to 40 years on someone who is 16 or 17 years old. So it doesn't mean I've experienced everything that's bad, but I've been fired from a job twice. I've been broken up with the relationship, not just at this chronology or age of my life now. I mean, when I was younger, when I was your age. And so I'm letting you know there's something else that's going to occur. It will get better. It will get better. So, and I understand that that's such a tender age, but without help, without talking to someone, without letting someone know that how you feel, first of all, because that's our emotions, how we are feeling. And our emotions can get the best of us. Any of us, me, I've blown up, I exploded, I may have lost my temper, that's true. But it becomes very critical when we're about to do a life-altering action that will not only harm ourselves, it will harm others. So I want to get more into this in our next session and expand on this. But meanwhile, Paul was saying And even if you're not a Bible reader, this is good discipline. If I keep thinking and meditating and thinking about evil acts, things that I want to do to get back at someone, there's a good chance that that will happen, because we see it every day, right? So I want to expand on that more. So instead of thinking that, I've got to change. I've got to fix my mind now on whatever is pure, whatever is true, whatever is excellent. I got to start thinking about things that will help blossom and germinate in my mind and allow my mind to see things, to see life differently. Because it's not the end of the road when someone breaks up with us or someone divorces us or we get fired. Hey, I'm someone else hired me. See, someone else hired me, and that was a long time ago. But nevertheless, there's an innumerable amount. How do I say it? I'm getting so worked up talking about this, that there are a multiplicity of opportunities for something good to happen to you. Okay, so don't become short-sighted and think that, oh, this is it. No, it isn't. There is something else that can occur multiple times, good opportunities. So I'm going to stop right here, and I'm going to working on my next upload and next video. Thanks for watching. If you've seen this on Facebook, thanks for viewing, and make a comment if you want. And if you're seeing this on YouTube, thanks for watching. If you want to subscribe, feel free to, and like and subscribe. All right, so have a good day, and we'll get back at you real soon with another upload. And thanks for watching. Have a good day. Goodbye.